Good morning, everyone. Sorry for running a couple of minutes late today, but I am so excited to be with you.
Good morning, everyone.
Sorry, I didn't realize my phone was on. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Unwired. I am your host, Outspoken Samantha, and we have a lot to get into today. So please leave your comments and your thoughts. I'm hoping that I have all of my technology lined up properly this time. I have the color corrected on my camera, which was an issue last week. Today, we are going to be talking about the Venezuelan gangs that have famously taken over areas and apartment complexes in major cities, namely Colorado, but they are popping up in places like Chicago. And we have a 911 audio to listen to. We have examples of police basically saying that we can't do anything because this is a sanctuary city. And we also have the governors and the political leaders and their responses as well. We also have a few clips to get into of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and some really interesting things that they are saying on the campaign trail as they allegedly claim to want to fight for our rights, freedom of speech, and things like that, and also have some very interesting accusations towards President Trump, which are always fun. Lastly, we have a wild story where transgender people are now offended by anybody pretending to be transgender. And I don't even know how that works. But that is what we are going to talk about today. So let's get into it. All right, so the first thing that we are going to touch on, we have a little bit of a gang problem going on right now, and it's not just the regular run-of-the-mill gangs that we are used to seeing. I don't even know how to properly say that. It's not just the Crips or the Bloods or anything like that. We've actually got people that are coming in from other countries that have been allowed to come here because of the open invitation by Biden and Harris, and now Harris and Walz, to just come here, ignore our immigration laws, and just pretend that vetting these people is racist and xenophobic. And I know that this is something I have talked about. Can you guys hear me? I just realized that my mic was way too far away. It was over there. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to get my mic closer to me because I realized it was really, really far away. If I have to do everything again, then I absolutely will. But again, I don't know what it would be without a little bit of the mic volume was okay. All right. It was just a little, I had left it kind of further away. And then I was like, oh, I actually need to be speaking into it. So me and technology are not great friends. So I know, as I was saying, I know that I have talked about this subject a lot lately, about these migrant gangs that are popping up everywhere. But I do think that this is something that we need to be aware of because considering how many unvetted illegal immigrants have come into the country in the last 3.5 years, a number that is so great that we honestly don't even know how many people are here. We have absolutely no way. We've heard numbers of 11 million. We've heard as high as 20 million. I think it's more than that, but it's been really pretty much nearly impossible to track. And at this point, we have enough dangerous criminals that have been able to cross our border who, mind you, wouldn't have been able to if illegal immigration policies were actually being enforced. But now they are setting themselves up in different pockets across the country and now terrorizing innocent people. And I'm sure you can guess where most of these pockets are being set up. It's going to be in the areas where they are allowed to thrive, where illegal immigration crackdowns have been stopped by policies not only proposed by Democrat politicians, but also endorsed by Democrat voters who rallied to abolish the police, who demanded to cut the budgets of law enforcement. And now where the heads of those states are not going to do anything to solve the problems that they not only played a hand in creating, but encouraged their own voters to have a hand in creating. And the danger and the violence that is happening to the people who elected them is going to go ignored when they call for help. So these areas, as we know, they are called sanctuary cities, and every single one of them is run by a Democrat mayor and likely a Democrat governor as well. And because we know that Democrats are going to say whatever sounds good to get elected, even though it doesn't take a brain surgeon to hear the things that they are proposing and know that what they are saying is going to hurt literally everybody that is not a wealthy elite. So the inevitable chaos that's been created by selling people this lie that having a secure border and strict immigration policies is racist and hateful, all of that chaos is now going to be ignored by the politicians who basically swindled their voters into helping them create this mayhem. So a lot of the stories that we have seen so far, let me give me 1 second here. We're gonna get that. A lot of these stories that I have been talking about have come out of Denver, Colorado, from a little, I don't know, it's not really a suburb. As I've mentioned before, my family and I lived in Colorado. My husband's family is from Colorado. They all still live there. They live in an area called Littleton, which is not too far from Denver, not too far from Aurora. So I have been to all of these areas. I am very familiar with all of these areas. And so we moved away from there because we could see we could see down the road. We could see what was going to come as a result of all of these people that were in office, primarily that still won the election in 2020. And we were like, this isn't a great environment for our kids and for our family anymore. So I know this area. Very well. This is in Aurora, Colorado. And this is footage that was captured of these migrant gang members taking over this apartment complex, and says in this article, it says harrowing new footage has captured the moment an alleged Venezuelan gang seized control of an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. The heavily armed mob are seen storming through the residence, brandishing guns in the video that emerged on Wednesday. A man in a hoodie lugs a high-powered rifle and pounds on a door in the building, while several others wield pistols. A gang has taken over several apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado. Local council member Danielle Jurinsky wrote on Twitter, cops refused to confirm whether the gunmen belonged to the infamous Tren De Aragua cartel, but council member Jurinsky told Fox 31 that the building had been overrun by a Venezuelan gang. So this is happening. We have footage. We have people confirming it. We have people talking about it. But it's not just the people from the news. It's not just, some of these people that are trying to blow the whistle on what is happening here. We have people that are other reporters that are trying to shed light on it. We have people that are, sorry, I keep trying to see around so I can make sure I get the right footage here. This is a reporter. His name is, I have his name here. What is it? His last name is Bondi. I'm not entirely sure, but he is talking about just confirming the reports from the Health and Human Services, confirming that this is a Venezuelan gang, that people are talking about it, that this is actually what is going on. So let's just hear a little bit of what he has to say.
The Department of Homeland Security confirmed the individuals in the video at an Aurora apartment complex are members of a Venezuelan gang. So here's what's happening. There are Venezuelan gangs taking over, according to reports, apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado. Now, some in the city government, some in the local media are saying that it's being blown out of proportion. The city police today, they put out a news release saying that it's a minor problem. Okay, well, some of the residents there say there should not be a minor Venezuelan gang problem. These people crossed into the country illegally, according to sources. So that's what's happening in the United States, in an American city.
And I don't know about you guys, but I don't take a lot of comfort when someone says it's just a minor Venezuelan gang problem, because there shouldn't be a minor problem, you know, with people coming from other countries and setting up their own gangs here. That shouldn't even be something that we have to deal with. But, you know, some of the things that we are also hearing are not just from these news sources, but from people who actually have to live with the horrors of what is going on, which unfortunately are the ones that have to live with the policies, that have to live with the reality of what is going on. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the right screen here. So this is a woman who is just explaining how she has to lock her door just to go. This is how she has this is what she has to do to her door just to leave the house, just to go take the trash out. These are people that actually have to live with these policies and how in danger they feel. I wish I could make it bigger, but I don't know if that's even any better.
Every day.
So this is what she has to do just to leave the house. She has to basically like lock down like she's Fort Knox just to walk out the door.
When we come home, we have to do this every time we go outside to take out the garbage. Every time we try to go to bed at night, we have to keep it like this so nobody can kick in the door.
So she's got to put that up just so nobody will kick in the door. Sorry, I have a lot of clips and it's really, really hard because I want to share all of them, but I think that we would be here for probably another 6 hours if I shared all of them. So I'm just going to go through a couple more. This is a woman who is going to share with us some of the things that have been happening. She lives in the area as well. She's going to share some footage that she has seen. So let's have a look really quick.
What I'm about to show you is real. It's happening in Aurora, Colorado. My last video went completely viral talking about this kind of stuff. So I want to show some of these clips that I've been finding, and people are commenting and they're like, yes, I live here. This is accurate. It's going on. It's terrifying. So let me know in the comments what you want to hear more about and see more about. I can definitely try and help you out, but this is really scary. Okay, continue to watch because this is what's going on not too far from my home.
Oh, me. These niggas is out here tripping. Bro, damn, they done made a mess and shit. Nigga, y'all are on bullshit out here. They is on bullshit. Oh, shit. What the Yeah, they're tripping. Nigga, they cracking off in the air.
So we've seen people that feel like they have to lock down their homes completely, that they can, you know, that the city is being trashed. That's a parking lot to a Target store. And it is in complete disarray. It is it's total chaos. This is one more that I want to share. This is a mom talking about living in this area and how she and other moms are having to deal with this violence and how they are feeling completely unsafe. Just to go to the park, they feel like they have to arm themselves. So let's just listen to her really quick, and then we'll talk a little bit about the response that we have seen, and then also how this is this is starting to pop up in other cities as well.
With this like gang thing, because like literally I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm a mom. Some of my friends are moms too, and it's gotten so bad to the point we don't even want to take our kids to the park without being in a group. And even in a group, we have to make sure that someone has a taser, we have some type of like pepper spray, we have to have some type of protection. Me, I don't mess with guns. That's just personally me, because guns, they scare me. So it's just like, I don't know. We need to figure out something, because like, I'm not going to lie. This is terrifying. And I understand they're coming here for a better life. But at the same time, is this life getting any better when you're bringing what was there here.
And, I think that it's one thing to, I think it's one thing to, how do I phrase this? We all want people to have a better life. We know that America is this amazing country with amazing opportunity that has, we have this abundance of resources, at least for now. That is probably going to change if Kamala Harris wins the White House, heaven forbid. We understand that. People have always wanted to come to America. People have always wanted to come across our borders. People have always had this American dream, even from all over the world. And we want people to be able to have that. We need to have a successful country in order to be able to offer that to other people. But that is not what this is about. And it makes me really sad that even in this moment in her struggles, she still feels like she needs to censor how she talks about this stuff. She still feels like she needs to throw in that caveat or, to say, I'm not saying that, all people are like this. Or I'm not, she feels like she needs to say, like, I'm not talking about all immigrants here, that I'm she's trying to make sure that she doesn't sound hateful and discriminatory, even though she's talking about how in danger she is, which just shows to me how twisted this whole issue has gotten, because this isn't about politics. This isn't about discrimination. This isn't about bigotry. It's not about any of that. This is about safety. This is about our rights. This is about putting America first. And all of these policies that have allowed this to happen are putting our own people in danger, where this group of moms can't even go to the park with their kids without arming themselves. I'm going to click on comments. Travis Case says that's outrageous. Second Amendment for a reason. I live in Colorado. This is absolutely a problem. Governor, I think you meant Polis, is failing with epic colors. Absolutely. And it's, again, as we're going to get into, it's absolutely astonishing to me that we can look at these leaders over the state who have voters that elected them to represent them, to protect their rights, to protect their right to safety, to keep this stuff out of the state. Yet that has been the opposite. And we are seeing the results of that. And Governor Polis, I mean, like I said, I have all of these clips that I wanted to show, but I couldn't I couldn't get to all of the clips. So we're just going to get to the ones that I can. But Governor Polis, again, these leaders that are responsible for the people of their state has basically said that if you bring attention to this, it is just a figment of your imagination. And how are you supposed to address an issue or a concern of the people that elected you if they come to you with that concern and you're telling them that it's all in their head, that these moms that can't even go to the park with their kids, that the danger that they are feeling is just in their heads. And that, that to me is just language that says that I have no intention of solving this, of making the community safer, of getting these people out of here, of protecting your rights and your safety. And that is what happens when you put people like this in office, and who will sell you this lie that immigration policies are bad, that they're racist, that they're xenophobic, that they're unnecessary, and that they're discriminating against people who just want to come here and have the American dream. All of that is a lie. And the only reason that you would sell that to people is because you have the intention of destroying the area that you are over, so that people will beg you for more assistance. So this is Governor Jared Polis. This is an article from just a few days ago. It says Governor Jared Polis dismisses migrant gang takeovers of apartments as imagination despite video. The mayor is also confirming the truth. So it says Colorado Governor Jared Polis dismissed anger over Venezuelan gang Tren De Aragua. I'm sorry, my Spanish accent is terrible. Taking over apartment buildings in the Denver suburb of Aurora, calling it imagination despite video footage, police reports, and the city's mayor confirming it's happening. Polis Polis press office offered the snarky statement Wednesday night in response to Aurora City Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky, who told the Post that the gang's takeovers are tied to his policies. The governor has already let the mayor know that the state is ready to support the local police department with assistance from state troopers and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation if needed, Shelby Wyman, a spokesperson for the Democratic governor, told the Post. But according to the police intelligence, this purported invasion is largely a feature of Danielle Jurinsky's imagination. So we had this councilwoman try to bring this to the attention of the governor, and he is basically saying that it's not true, that it's not happening. And you only say that when you don't want to be held accountable for your policies. This is something that you say that you, when you know that you have caused a problem that you have no intention of fixing. So it really is unfortunate that this is happening. It's unfortunate that people did not believe us when we said that this is exactly what would happen if you stopped enforcing immigration policies, if you bought this lie that said that they were dangerous and harmful and meant to keep good people out. It's unfortunate that, that we were the ones that were painted as harmful and discriminatory when we were just saying, no, we just want to keep our country safe. We want to put Americans first. We want to make sure that, we know who is coming into the country. And this is what happens when you buy the lie, when you buy, the talking points that people say to make it sound like the people on the other side of the aisle are the ones that are trying to harm you. Real people, everyday people are hurt by this. Everyday families, regular people, everyday people just trying to go to work, just trying to get their kids to school, just trying to live their lives and have the American dream for themselves. We are the ones that suffer. This is also happening. I just saw recent stories of it happening in Chicago, which, as you may know, is also a sanctuary city. So this, I have a 911 call of somebody trying to report what is happening here. And this is coming from numerous people in this area as another Venezuelan gang is trying to take over their apartment complex. And apparently, if you ask Jared Polis, that's in Colorado, it's just a figment of their imagination.
Unit 10-3, I'm citywide for some of the guns, 6124 South King Drive. Caller says 32 Venezuelans are trespassing the building, showing guns in the courtyard, and they have motorcycles in the courtyard as well. All stairwells are filled. Nothing further is unclear. With the shots better to the 6124 and King for the migrants.
On King Drive.
All right, 10-4. There's another available unit to arrive at 310. We had multiple calls. First with the gun, 6124 South King. Also came over to disturbance large gathering. Could be 32 Venezuelans trespassing in the building property, showing guns in the courtyard. They have motorcycles in the courtway, all stairwells filled.
So yes, apparently this is something that is really not happening. It's absolutely astonishing to me. And I don't know what to tell you. What keeps coming to my brain, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking the same things, is that your vote matters. You have to consider who you are going to put in the White House next, no matter what the media says, no matter how they try to spin this. And you have to consider which administration, the Harris-Walz administration or the Trump-Vance administration. I don't know why my mind just went blank. You have to consider who is actually going to work to solve this problem. Are we going to have people that, Kamala Harris, who was actually in charge of the border, who was named as the border czar in 2021 and yet never visited the border once, whose administration has refused to talk about the thousands of missing migrant children that have been lost on the watch of the Biden-Harris administration, who lied about border agents whipping migrants and have allowed so much of a flood to happen that we literally can't accurately count how many people have come here illegally, let alone figure out who they are, and who are currently on the campaign trail talking about how granting citizenship for everyone who has come here with no vetting process is the only logical step forward. And not only that, who has also repeatedly said that the US owning guns, that us, innocent people owning guns for our own defense is the actual danger to the country, and wants us to believe that white people are the threat that we should be most concerned about. Is that the administration that we should be voting for? Or should we be voting for a guy who has worked to get a wall built, who had people apply for asylum from their own country, who had people wait their turn to get here so that we could make sure that we know who they are and what their plans are when they come to America, and to be able to do that background check and make sure that they're not a violent gang member? There are so many disturbing aspects to this. But what disgusts me the most is how you can be the kind of person that would sell your voters the idea of a sanctuary city and defunding the police as policies of humanity and compassion, literally knowing that those things are going to lead to destruction and chaos, particularly for innocent people who do not have private security, who are just trying to go about their day and cannot afford to take these additional measures to keep their family safe. And then when inevitably violence and harm breaks out and your own people are calling out for help, you ignore them and pretend that it is not happening. And that's exactly what we can expect from the Harris and Walz administration. I mean, on another subject, if you want to talk about price controls on food and goods, this is something that is inevitably going to lead to starvation and suffering. And then when those things hit on a mass scale and people wonder where their leaders are and who's going to step in and save them, they will tell you that starving is only your imagination, that this is something that you are just fabricating to make them look bad. And when that fails, they'll just blame Trump. So, and some people, of course, are going to believe them. But to answer the question as to why the Second Amendment is important and who on earth would need a firearm that can carry more than 6 rounds and who needs one of these assault weapons, it's right here in front of you. When you have gang members literally showing up at your doorstep, going through your apartment complex and knocking on your door, threatening you and your family, and your political leaders have not only pretty much incapacitated law enforcement to do anything about it, when it is literally up to you to protect your family from this unimaginable danger. That is why we have the Second Amendment, at least in part. Obviously, it is also to protect from override of our government, to protect us from our government as well. But I just want to play this last clip, and I don't know if this is in regards to the illegal immigrants or if this is just another situation where we had illegal immigrants just breaking the law in general. But we have this clip here where police officers are responding to a criminal complaint of something happening with the illegal immigrants, and these police officers literally tell them, we can't do anything because this is a sanctuary city.
Grab his information and see what we can do, but there's, like I said,
can you please collect the information? He said that he's already illegal. He already said that he went to.
Okay, hold on. Let's back a little bit. First off, we're a sanctuary city. Even if he is legal here, we cannot call ICE.
Okay, but you still have to report that, right?
No, we don't, because it's a sanctuary city. We do not report illegal undocumented.
So you're gonna let a person who went to prison, he committed a crime in America, who's illegal right now, you're gonna let him go free right now to this elevator?
That's exactly what I'm saying, because we're a sanctuary city. I've arrested a double homicide suspect in this city before and let him walk out the door because we're a sanctuary city. We're not gonna call ICE to come pick him up and deport him.
He came to pick up $320,000 from him or mine grandmother and grandfather, and he's walking away freely right now, right? That's what I'm understanding right now.
I understand that, but you're asking me to call ICE or the.
I'm not asking you to call ICE. We're just asking you
No,
to take
I'm just-
seriously.
So I don't know if you could hear that. This police officer's on camera said, I've arrested a double homicide suspect in the city before. I let him walk out the door because we're a sanctuary city. Says we do not report illegals or undocumented immigrants. The citizen says, so you're going to let a person who went to prison, he committed crime in America, who's illegal right now, you're going to let him go free. The police officer says that's exactly what I'm saying because we are a sanctuary city. It doesn't seem like much of a sanctuary to me if all of this is going on and literally nothing can be done about it. So that is where we are at. Again, this is what we can expect from a Harris and Walz administration. These are people that have allowed this to happen. They are pretending that it's not happening. And when, these truly heartbreaking stories that are coming from actual everyday people filming from their homes, filming from their cars, filming from their neighborhoods, saying this is what is actually going on in our neighborhood, saying we are not safe, this is dangerous, we can't even go outside without locking down our entire front door because we're worried someone's going to break in and kick down the door. When they're not politically motivated, they're not trying to make anybody feel bad, they are trying, or look bad, they're trying to bring attention to this issue. And that is what makes me the most mad about this. And it is being ignored. And that is, like I said, what we can expect from Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. We are going to move on to our next subject because we have had a few things come up with Kamala Harris. Oh, we have a troll. I love it. Project 2025. Oh, guys, everybody say hi to the troll. It says Project 2025, the changing a democracy into a dictatorship. I can tell you went to public school because you can't spell or articulate. It says stop going down these rabbit holes before you have a life controlled by someone other than you. Oh, that's so cute. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad you're here to enlighten us all about Project 2025. Speaking of which, we have Kamala Harris here who's going to tell us that free speech is actually about being censored. This is obviously something where she has gone on her We've heard Kamala Harris is apparently the candidate that is going to protect our freedom and our liberty, as apparently our friend here just says in Project 2025, that's going to change us into a dictatorship. So, we, of course, we've got to take this person's word for it because I'm sure that they sat down and read almost 1,000 pages of that Project 2025 and would never dream of putting something out there that is completely untrue. I'm sure that you, my friend, dug into that Project 2025 document and made sure that what you heard on the media was actually an accurate representation of what Project 2025 says, and would never repeat something without doing your own research, because Democrats are known for that. Kamala Harris, like I said, is apparently the candidate that is going to protect our freedom and our liberty. And she is the authority on constitutional rights and promises that she is looking out for us. So much so that even she believes that she should protect us from hearing things that we don't like, and that what people say needs to be restricted, because apparently that's what free speech is. You can say what you want to say as long as it's speech that is allowed. So this is Kamala Harris talking about how Elon Musk needs to do more to restrict speech on Twitter because free speech is censorship. So let's have a.
He has lost his privileges and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation.
So I love the word oversight. That is actually dictator speak for control. And my personal question is, why do we need Kamala Harris or anyone to crack down on what someone else says? Because I know I can determine for myself if someone is saying something that I want to read, that I want to hear. And if it's not, I can keep scrolling. If it's something that it's interesting, even if I don't like it or disagree with it, I can engage in that as well. I don't need a babysitter. As a grown adult, no one should need a babysitter, even though apparently there are some people who want them. But I don't need a babysitter, particularly if it is the government, because with crackdowns on speech comes punishment for defying those regulations, for defying that oversight, as she likes to call it. And then we bring back this mindset that we saw take hold across the Democrat base in 2020, where people come to believe that you can earn your freedom by complying with the government, which is the opposite of liberty and rights. Obviously, it's the opposite of what Kamala claims to want, which, she claims to want freedom and liberty, but earning your freedom through compliance is the opposite of that. So this is pretty much on par for the Democrat Party in general. We are going to move on to another clip that I saw of Tim Walz recently, who has so much joy that when he enters the stage, he can barely contain it. Man looks like he's pretty much going to poop himself with joy and excitement every time he runs onto the stage. It's like this combination of Richard Simmons and Chris Farley just running through the audience, and it's so obnoxious. But this is him making the very random claim about President Trump wanting to create child labor, and I believe he's implying that that is in Project 2025 as well. And since we do have somebody on that is watching the live stream right now who is apparently an expert in Project 2025, I'm sure they will confirm that that is in here. So let's have a look at that really quick.
Somebody said, what's next? Child labor? Hell yeah, it's in there. That's what they've got in there. You see states doing that, putting our children at risk. That's what they'll do.
I have to admit, I thought that was a very, very random claim to make. Very kind of off the cuff. I mean, we get accused of all sorts of things. Trump, of course, is repeatedly accused of wanting to be a dictatorship, even though everything on his record as a president when he was in the White House for 4 years demonstrated exactly the opposite of that. But wanting to create child labor, I thought was a very, very random idea. And it came to my mind always. What Democrats accuse Republicans of wanting are exactly the things that they are guilty of. And so whenever they make a claim, as random as it might be, guaranteed, if you do a little bit of digging, it doesn't take a lot, do a little bit of digging, and you are going to find that exact thing on their record. So let me show you exactly what I mean by that. This is probably going to infuriate you a little bit. So be sure, if you take blood pressure medication, to just take a little bit of a dose of that, or if you do some deep breathing, you might need to do that as well. So this is a video put together by an account on Twitter called Muckraker. It says, young children working full-time, story of child kidnapped from Times Square in broad daylight. This post says, as you watch this, small illegal alien children are being put to work full-time in Times Square. We spoke to some child workers and heard their stories. One told us that he witnessed a child being kidnapped from Times Square in broad daylight. Another shared his experience of seeing children drown while crossing the Darien Gap en route to the United States, and expressed his desire to return home to Ecuador. The Biden administration and the United Nations have encouraged hundreds of thousands of children to risk their lives trekking to the United States. This is the fate that awaits many once they arrive. So let's listen to just a little bit. But as Tim Walz is accusing the Trump administration and of Republicans in general of just wanting child labor, we can do a little bit of digging and find that this is exactly what is happening because of their policies.
¿Y de qué país?
De Colombia.
De Colombia. ¿Y cuántos años tienes tú?
11.
¿Y cuántos meses en Estados Unidos?
Un mes.
Un mes.
Pero veniste aquí para trabajar, ¿verdad? Sí, claro, y para estudiar, para conseguir un futuro. Porque es que allá en Colombia tú tuvo un caso muy malo que pasó con mi papá y mi hermana.
¿De los años de los niños que andan acá afuera?
De 8, de 11, de 14.
Trabajando acá afuera.
Ajá. Esto que se han robado y entonces tenemos que cuidarnos. Aquel día a una señora la robaron.
Okay, so just in case you can't, if the screen is too small and you can't see what he is saying, I'm just going to play it on mute. He's from Colombia. He asks, how old are you? He says 11. How many months are in the US? He says a month. I've been here about a month. You came here to work, right? Yes, of course, to study, to build a future. And then he was asked, or he says, because back in Colombia, there was a very bad situation that happened with my dad and mom. Oh. Can you repeat the ages of the kids out here? 8, 11, and 14. Working out here? Uh-huh. There's been robberies, so we have to be careful. One day, a lady got robbed, and they took her kid. And never... They took the kid? Uh-huh. Where? They took him in a van. They just took one kid. And he says, be very careful, okay? Don't let that happen. This kid talked about how on his way here, he saw a lot of dead bodies along the trail and the tents and the trees, all that. They were dead and corpses. Did you see children taken away in the jungle? Yes. So those are the horrors of the things that children are seeing along the way. And then he's talking about living here. Some children live in hotels. Some children live on the streets. We know who they are. Can you tell us where we can see them? I really don't know. They just pass by begging. That's all. So this is happening in Times Square in New York, where these kids who were encouraged to come here, whether they were brought here with their parents or not, it sounds like some of them were not, likely brought here by traffickers, likely brought here by people that just had the worst intentions, saw some of the most horrifying things that some of us probably could never imagine witnessing. And I'm actually struggling to just keep it together right now because I have an 8-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 13-year-old. And I just, as children, their innocence means so much to me. It is just my life to protect them. And to protect them from things that they should not have to deal with as children and that even as adults we would struggle with. And so I can't even imagine them seeing some of the things that this little boy is describing right here. It actually just really, really breaks my heart. But these kids are working full-time in Times Square. They have to be careful to not get kidnapped, to not get taken away. They've already endured so much. And then when they get here, you know, I don't know how you square this with this lie that these people are trying to come here and live the American dream, or being told that if they do come here that they are going to have this wonderful life, when that is the opposite of what is happening. Everything that they see along the way is just unimaginable. And then when they get here, they have to be just as careful, if not more careful, because it's not any safer for them on these streets. So when Tim Walz again accuses Republicans of wanting child labor, this is something that is actually happening right now, because we haven't been able to make sure that these kids are actually coming here with people that they are related to, that love here, that love them. We can't make sure that they are, you know, whoever their contact is in the United States is actually a safe family that they are supposed to go to. They are just released to whatever contact information they have written on their arm, whatever contact information that they have, you know, pinned to their body. That is the person that they are released to, and likely not somebody that is even safe. And right now they are just struggling to survive if they happen to be one of the lucky ones that made it here safely. So this is just absolutely, absolutely horrifying. Like I said, and you know, I don't know if you guys you probably don't know me that well. I am not an emotional person. My husband will attest to that. But stuff like this really gets to me, It is just unfathomable that these kids would have to go through this. And I know that under the Trump administration, the Democrats constantly accused Trump of separating kids from their families. And putting them in cages, which were actually built by the Obama administration. But the process of separating kids from the adults that they come with when they come to the border is just another security measure for them to make sure that who they are coming with are actually their loving family members. That's just one of the parts of the legal immigration process, to make sure that they are with their family members. They are actually with people that are going to take care of them. And what is happening now are these kids are traveling with people that they're not related to. So they were separated from their families long before they even started on this journey. And if they are lucky enough to survive when they get here, they are essentially on their own, or they're being trafficked or used in any number of ways by people that are just horrific. So that is what, another mark on the Biden-Harris administration, and will be carried over in the Harris-Walz administration, no matter how many times they try to sell us joy and humanity. Lastly, the last Kamala Harris blunder that I want to touch on is, it is a little bit of a lighter note, but it is absolutely bizarre, to say the least. So this is... Sorry, Kamala Harris has been accused of using different accents depending on who she is talking to. And it is extremely bizarre behavior. I don't know anybody in my life who has ever done this, ever. Like, when you talk to people, you can usually tell where they're from, and you're like, what is that accent from? And they will say that they're from Mexico, or they're from, I met somebody recently that is from Quebec, Canada, and you can hear their accent. You can kind of hear a little bit of a difference in the way that they talk, but you don't start talking like them. You don't start trying to mimic them, because that would be insulting. I think it would be incredibly bizarre and off-putting if any of us ever experienced that with anybody that we met. That would be so weird if you met somebody and they just started talking like you. But she has been accused of doing this. So this is a couple of clips. This is Detroit versus Pittsburgh. And she's giving exactly the same speech with two different accents. So this is the first one.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time. Because what we...
And this is the second one. Same speech.
Thank unions for sick leave. Thank unions for paid family leave. Thank unions for your vacation time.
Let me know, how would you guys react if somebody just started talking completely differently, or trying to mimic the culture around you? Interestingly, Peter Doocy actually tried to ask Karine Jean-Pierre why Kamala Harris was doing this. And sorry, that is the wrong thing. Oh, sorry, let me bring it over here. Okay, so Peter Doocy actually decided to bring this up to KJP. And this is obviously something that she is going to brush off, and she is just going to pretend is not happening, because that's what Democrats do. But she asked the question, is this something that is even important? Is this something that we even need to discuss? Is it something that the American people would even care about? And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Do you think that this matters? But let's just hear a little bit of this interaction, and then we'll discuss it a little bit.
Since when does the vice president have what sounds like a Southern accent?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
I mean, this is...
She was talking about unions in Detroit using one tone of voice.
Is this something that
same
you think...
line?
Okay, Peter.
That she used the same line in Pittsburgh, and it sounded like she at least had some kind of a Southern drawl.
Do you hear the question that do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question? They care. You know what they care about? They care about the economy. They care about lowering costs. They care about healthcare.
And she's not wrong. Yes, we do care about all of these things. But first of all, for her to ask, is this, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, we just saw it. That is not a normal, Kamala Harris does not have a Southern accent. This is not a normal tone of voice for her. And to me, it's clear that this is someone who will change and who will adjust and do whatever will make her popular in that moment. It could be from policy to personality, which means you can't trust anything about her because everything she does is completely fake. She says what she has to say to get what she wants, and we have no idea what we're going to get or what she really stands for because none of it is consistent. And I just have to think, can you imagine sending this person into meetings with leaders from China or Iran or from Europe? Is she going to try to mimic their accents? And can you imagine how deeply offensive and insulting that would be? And of course, we know that she's going to end every single one of those meetings with, imagine what can be unburdened by what has been. And of course, just in a different accent. But consistency matters. Knowing what people can expect from you matters. And being someone who can't even be who they are just in the way that they talk, that's a very fundamental and consistent aspect to most people's personality. So not even being able to count on that is disturbing, and it's unsettling, and it's unstable. And those are all things that are the opposite qualities of what we need in the White House, especially when the country is in so much turmoil, is in so much chaos, and we need so many things to be fixed very, very quickly. We have this person that adjusts and changes and flip-flops on literally everything on a cellular level. So we have no idea what we're going to get. Not to mention, of course, we know that she has not really articulated any policies. She likes to talk about the economy. She likes to talk about how she knows that things are expensive for us, that the living conditions in America have drastically gone down. And of course, we need to remind people that this is because of the Biden-Harris administration. She is the Harris in the Biden-Harris administration. So when she talks about things that needs to be fixed, then she is addressing the fact that there are things that are broken, that things have been messed up, that things are not going well. And that is because of the administration that she has been a part of, and in large part that she has created. She has often been the deciding vote on a lot of these very destructive policies. So again, there's so much inconsistency and so much instability in these two people that I truly do not understand how people can't see it, that they won't acknowledge it, that they pretend it's not happening, and that they also pretend that things like joy and happiness are enough of a motivating factor to decide on who to vote for. I mean, I wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris's joy any more than I would vote for Trump because I enjoy his mean tweets. I need to see policy. I need to see track record. I need to see like who you have been. And regardless of whether or not you like Trump or you hate Trump, Trump is Trump, and he's always been Trump. And we know exactly who he is based on his policies, based on his track record. It has nothing to do with what the media has said. He is who he is, and we know exactly who we're going to get. The last story that I want to touch on, I don't even know how to approach this. We're going to end on a lighter note, but it is a little bit more of an insane note, to say the least. So I don't even know how this story ended up on my radar. I think it came to my attention because we live in an absolutely insane world. And let me just pull this up here because what we have here, I don't even know how to introduce this. So my husband and I were talking about the phrase, "You can't make this stuff up," last night. And it really means that because of the world that we live in now, reality is far more ridiculous than even what your wildest imagination can come up with. And I don't know a lot about this particular story, But what I can tell, these two girls are apparently trying to make money on OnlyFans, but they weren't making enough as just regular women. So they decided to pretend to be trans women, which means they are pretending that they are actually men, just pretending to be women. And they're trying to appeal to what is apparently a growing fetish market. So I'm just going to play a little bit of this video, but I do have to kind of cut it off at the bottom because I feel like it's kind of inappropriate, but they're literally putting things in their underwear to make it look like they have the anatomy of a male, but they're pretending to be women, but they're actually women just pretending to be trans women. So that is the insanity. So this is a video that they posted that kind of got transgender people upset.
I think the apple's rotten right to the core from all the things we've done. I think the apple's rotten right to the core from all the things we've done.
I don't even know what to say about this. It's so completely disturbing. But the funny thing about this story has been the reaction. So we have all of these people that are supposedly transgender claiming that this is now trans face, that these are people that are just pretending to be transgender, saying that this is not a costume, that transgenderism is not something that you can just pretend to be. And there's so much irony in the reaction to this video, to these girls pretending to be trans, that I think we've just kind of lost all ability to have our self-awareness. So let me just grab this response that was ironic. So this is from someone named April. And this was reposted by an account named Peeps. It says, man in woman face complains about trans face. The irony. April is responding to this video of these girls saying, I've lost friends, family, jobs, opportunities, money, healthcare, and basic respect from random people. I've been harassed, death threats, essayed. For these women, in a not nice word, to masquerade as trans women for profit is disgusting. It's like the trans version of blackface. They don't deserve peace. And unfortunately, there have been a lot of reactions that are like this. And like I said, I don't think that the irony can be overstated here, because obviously we have had so many women say that being a woman is not something that you can just dress up as. You can't just pretend to be a woman. You can't just say that you're a woman. Yet we get all of this backlash from this exact community saying that we don't get to gatekeep on what being a woman is, that we don't get to deny somebody the ability to use that word however they want to use it, and that having any opposition to this is discriminatory and bigoted, and women essentially just need to put up with it and stay silent. Then we have these girls here. Not only that we have all of these, that we have these trans people that just coincidentally seem to be able to take on the identity of being a woman when it is beneficial to them, when they want to win in a competition, when they want a particular job promotion, when they want attention in some way that doesn't come from just being a man or woman. But if they say I'm trans, then suddenly they get this recognition as the first trans doing this, or winning a scholarship, or winning a trophy, or winning a race, or winning a competition as the first trans this, or beating out every other woman because they have the biology of a male and have that advantage. But that they get to pretend that they don't have that advantage and take these opportunities and things away from women. So there's lots of areas where biological men are benefiting from these self-ID laws, from just being able to say that I am a woman and being protected from the backlash. So to have people that claim to be trans say that they are angry about someone wanting to benefit from being transgender is ironic. You know, all of the things that we complain about as women that we are bringing up and saying that this makes things completely unfair. It makes things, it makes a mockery of being a woman. These are now the complaints that transgender people are having of somebody pretending to be trans. The interesting thing is, I don't even know if interesting is the right word, but being transgender has no real definition because there's no criteria that says that you have to meet these certain expectations to be transgender. You don't have to be trans for a certain length of time to be transgender. You don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to have a particular body type or anatomy or biological structure or physiological structure. You don't have to have anything. You can just say, I am trans or I am the opposite sex or whatever, and that is good enough. There's no end game. There's no time frame. There's no starting point. There's no end goal. You just keep flip-flopping around with pronouns and genders or taking the next step and the next step and the next step from hormones to countless surgeries with no end goal in mind, because there's nothing to say that once your body reaches a particular point that you are now transgender, or you have certain feelings that you are now transgender. It's this thing that says pretty much anything goes. Whereas being a woman really does have an actual definition, from physical to emotional to mental, all of these things. It's from a cellular level to a life experience level. There are all of these things that really come together to make women who we are. And we don't have to reach an end goal because of what that looks like, because it just happens when we're born that way. So, we're having something that actually has a definition taken away from us by people that have no definition and that actually thrive on not having a definition and that actually need that lack of definition to have this category. And we're having that taken away by people that just say, that words are pretty much the only criteria. And now they're turning around and saying that you can't just use words to claim to be transgender or to, to claim the same experiences. So it's very ironic, but I just wanted to bring that to people's attention because apparently it's okay to pretend to be a woman, but it's not okay to pretend to be trans. So make that make sense. Anyway, we are at about an hour now, which is about where I like to keep these live streams at. My kitty has decided to jump up and say hi. She, I guess, was not getting enough attention. I appreciate you guys being here. I really do. I know I have had some technical issues in the past, but I am trying to get all of those things ironed out and be consistent and actually start on time. And I appreciate you supporting my channel. Please hit this like button. Make sure that you are sharing it with other people. Make sure that you are subscribed, that your notifications are on so that you never miss an upload or a live stream. Let me know anything that you guys ever want to talk about in the future. I appreciate you being here. Be sure to continue to support my channel. You know that I appreciate you. Let me know your thoughts on all of these subjects. I do read the comments even after the video goes live. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one.